Good morning. Welcome to the fireplace. I have a nice cup of coffee, and I trust you've got something to drink this morning. Uh, I've got some friends that'll be drinking flavored water, and a few who may have a cup of coffee. Some may even have a cup of hot chocolate, but that's okay. It's good to be here this morning, back in Oklahoma by the fireplace. The fireplace won't be on very long because it's 50 degrees outside, and I just needed to take the chill out. Sometimes in life, you don't need a roaring fire going all the time. And I'm not talking really, well, kind of spiritually, just in life. Uh, Sometimes you just need enough to take the chill out. Who have we got? Brother Kenneth, welcome this morning. Hi, Kathy. Um, you just need a little bit to take the chill out. And sometimes, I guess spiritually, I could say that sometimes we get just a little cool. We're almost at that lukewarm spot, and that's a dangerous place to be. But we get just a little cool, and we need something to take the chill out. And so this morning, I've got the fireplace going just for a little while to take the chill out of the house. My house is heavily insulated, so when it gets cold, it stays cold. When it gets hot, it stays hot. And so, which is good. In the summertime, you get it good and cool in here with the air conditioner. Then you can turn the air conditioner up and the house stays cool. And same way in the wintertime. If I get it good and hot, I can turn the heat down and my house stays warm. And so sometimes you just need a little bit to take the chill out. So that's why I've got the fireplace going this morning. Just take the chill out for a little bit, and then I'll turn it off. It's almost to the place where I can go outside. I opened the back door and stepped down the patio. I said, still just a little bit cold out there this morning. So, but it's getting there. We're getting close where I'll be outside again, and I look forward to that. But anyways, I have just a couple of thoughts I want to share with you this morning. And I want to try to encourage somebody to realize that God is, I just thought of an old song. Old Brother Cox, R.L. Cox from Pittsburgh, Kansas, used to sing, I know God is God. God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. Well, there's a lot of verses to that song, but he is God and he never changes. And God doesn't change dependent upon your circumstance. And sometimes the enemy wants you to believe that if you're in the valley or in the plain, God's not the same as he is when you're up on the mountain. And so there's some Bible to back up the fact that he is the God of the plains and he's the God of the hills. In 1 Kings chapter 20, and I'm going to skip some verses through there. I'm not reading the whole chapter, but the first verse says, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together. And there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria and warred against it. There was a great war going on. Well, then we skip down to verse 21. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome, Brother Joe.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
All right. And I'm gonna take your picture off here for just a little bit, okay? Maybe. If I learn how to do this stuff. Okay, I hope you're still there. The king of Israel went out and he smote the horses and chariots and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, Go strengthen thyself and mark, and see what thou doest. For at the return of the year, the king of Syria will come against thee. And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, their gods, talking about the children of Israel, their gods are gods of the hills. That's how they won the battle, because we were fighting in the hills. Therefore, they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. You know, sometimes the enemy thinks if he can just get you in a different place, you'll be weak. And so we go on down and we read in verse 28, and there came a man of God and spake unto the king of Israel and said, thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills. Hang on here. Because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand. And ye shall know that I am the Lord. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days. And so it was that in the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew of the Syrians 100,000 footmen in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. And Benhadad fled and came into the city into an inner chamber. What did he say here? He said, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills, but he's not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. I just need to tell somebody this morning that it doesn't matter where you're at in your battle. It doesn't matter whether you're in the plain or you're on the hill. It doesn't say it here, but it doesn't matter if you're on the creek bank. Wherever you are, if you are trusting God, he is still God. And you know what? Take out what I just said. Whether you're trusting him or not, he's still God. God's not dependent upon me. God's not dependent upon my circumstances. God's not dependent upon my situation. God's not dependent on where I'm at, what I'm doing. He's still God. I sing a song sometimes says, you're still God. When my eyes have cried a million tears, you're still God. When my last hope has disappeared, you're still God, and I know you'll make a way somehow. You're still God, and you're holding me right now. It doesn't matter. You know, they were misconceived. That they had this misconception that because the first battle was won in the hills, then their God was just the God of the hills. That's what they said about the children of Israel. But God said, I'll show them. I'm God in the plain, just like I'm God in the hills. And then we have the song, the God on the mountain is the same as the God in the valley. It doesn't matter where you're at, what you're going through, he's still God. One of the verses to that song I was talking about a while ago is, he's God on the platform, he's God back at the door, he's God in the aiming corner, he's God all over the floor. I know God is God. God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. There's a dozen verses to that song, and I probably can't even think of all of them. But he's God. It matters not what your situation is. And sometimes that's what we have to be reminded of, because the enemy wants you and I to think that in the situation I'm in right now, God's not going to fight my battle. God's not with me. He's left me. And that is so not true. He is God all over the platform. He's got, the children, I don't hardly ever hear it anymore. But as children, we would sing, he's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's God all over this universe. He's God all over this world. He's God in my heart. He's God in your heart. He's God in Chelsea, Oklahoma. He's God in Cahokia, Illinois. He's God in Joplin, Missouri. He's God in Denver, Colorado. Wherever you're at today, he's still God. And it doesn't matter whether it's in the plains or in the hills. He is still God. And someone needs to be reminded of that today. That no matter what you're going through, sometimes when we're going through grief, it feels like God's a million miles away. But he's not. He's there. He's there just as real in your grief and your sorrow and your discouragement as he is in your shouting and your rejoicing and your hallelujahs. He's still there. Let me just say this. He's there when you don't feel him. Job said, I looked for him everywhere. I looked in front of me, I looked behind me, I looked to the left, I looked to the right. I looked everywhere and I could not find him. But Job had to realize he was still there. When you can't see him, when you can't feel him, when you can't sense his presence. And yes, as Christians, sometimes we walk through those places where we do not even sense his presence. But he's there. He's there. And you and I can rest assured of that today. That no matter what you're going through, and no matter what level you may be on, whether you're in the plains or in the hills, he is still the God of the hills and the God of the plains. He's still the God that will pick you up and carry you when you cannot carry yourself anymore. My brother passed away, I don't even remember what year he passed away, back in the mid-'80s. And his favorite poem, his favorite story was the story of the footprints. He carried a bookmark in his Bible with that on it. And they put that on his tombstone. Because those times when there was only one set of footprints, that's when he picked me up and he carried me. And sometimes it seems like there's more times that there's just one set of footprints than there is when there's two sets of footprints. And I'm thankful for that today, that when there's just one set of footprints, he hasn't left me. He's picked me up and carried me. Just a simple thought for today. Nothing elaborate, nothing earth-shattering or mind-revealing. I just needed someone to know today that he's still God. Whether you're in the valley or you're on the mountaintop, he is still God. Go back and read it. 1 Kings chapter 20. He said, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Remember that today. He's the same on the mountain or in the valley. Wow. Isn't that an awesome way to start the day today? To know that no matter what today brings, to know that no matter what may come my way, he's still God. And I'm so thankful for that today. God bless you. Have a great, well, it would normally be Taco Tuesday, but tonight it's going to be Roast Tuesday. We're having a nice dinner tonight. And so we're going to do roast tonight instead of tacos. But it's still family time. And I trust that if you can get with your family sometime this week and have family time. And thank the Lord for make memories. You know, I have a saying that I've said for many years now. Make lots of good memories, because if you live long enough, they may be all you have. And that's what I'm doing. I'm working on good memories, and I trust you are too. God bless you. Remember, He's still God.